Now, I'm going to start July the 10th, 2009. The thing that an army wife dreads the most, which is the knock at the door.
Yeah, it's a day I'll never forget, and every year it comes round. It's probably the hardest day of the year for me.
Thursday night, on the day yet another soldier is confirmed dead in Afghanistan.
Lee Scott was 26 years old and with the 2nd Royal Tank Regiment.
Corporal Lee Scott, described by his squadron leader as the perfect soldier and by his wife as the most loving, kindest person you could ever meet. He had, she said, a permanent cheeky grin.
I'm Nikki Scott. My husband, Corporal Lee Scott, was killed on the 10th of July 2009 in Afghanistan, and I'm the founder of Scotty's Little Soldiers. Kai was 5 when Lee was killed, and Brooke was only 7 months old. Kai's got learning difficulties as well, so I knew I needed to be really straight and clear and not confuse him. I said, do you remember where Daddy is? And he said, yeah, Afghan. And I said, and I know I said that Daddy was going to come home, but something really bad's happened, Kai, and he's been killed, which means we won't ever get to see Daddy again. Oh, I'm feeling it now. And I just completely shattered his world, and the light just went out in his eyes. You know, he had horrific nightmares, tantrums, just wasn't the same little Kai anymore. I think the fact that Lee put him to bed that night and then left for Afghanistan, I mean, I didn't even think about it for quite a while after, and then I realised that maybe all his sleep problems, not leaving my side, wanting to sleep in my bed, I was like, maybe it's all down to, Daddy put him to bed and then he never saw Daddy again. Like, bedtime was quite a trigger point for Kai. And I remember thinking from then, like, God, no one's been in touch about the children. Like, no one's spoken to me about the children. And as time went on, I heard from, Army Widows Association and different organisations. But again, I never heard from an organisation for Kai and Brooke. And then I started to think, how many other children have experienced the death of a parent who served our country and aren't getting the support they need. Spoke to my family, friends. I still can't even believe we did it. Never had any experience in charities before, but I knew really clearly who we wanted to help and how we wanted to help. And I was lucky that my family just, got on board. Yeah, that's how it all started. So Scotty's is a charity that is dedicated to support bereaved British Forces children, and it's not just a one-off piece of support and then they go away. It's a membership, and we are there at different stages, different points of their lives throughout their childhood, right up until the age of 25. So we've put things in place to make sure that we support them through that transition and them not feeling alone. I always remember, because this was a first for Scotty's, that we actually had a phone call and I spoke to a man, and he was serving in the RAF at the time and he had cancer, and he was in a hospice, and he was basically phoning to put things in place for his little boy, ready for when he died. And I think when I received that membership form from that widow for her son, I think that was I was like, oh, he's died. Like, it was just a real sad moment. But I was more, I don't know, I had this like boost of something inside of me that said, I'm going to make sure your son is supported. And that's how I feel every time I get emotional, because it means so much. Just want to make sure that the guys and girls up there look down and know the country is supporting their children. That's what Lee would have wanted. That's what anyone would want. I would say to anyone who's played the Veterans Lottery, a massive thank you. Like, every single donation we receive from the Veterans Foundation goes to helping support bereaved British Forces children and young people, and it is so needed. So just a massive thank you.
What do you think Lee would make of what you've achieved?
I think he'd love it. I think I can hear him at times going, yes, babe, yes, babe. And I think if there was a charity like Scotty's, he would be fundraising or playing the Veterans Lottery because he'd want to be supporting bereaved military children. Military was Lee's life, but his children were the most important thing to him. So to mix the two together, he'd be 100% behind it. So hopefully he's very proud. If you want to help Scotty's to help more bereaved British Forces children and young people, then please play the Veterans Lottery. Your ticket can really change your life.